Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank y'all so much for stopping by. Really, really appreciate it. Shout out to the NTZ crew. I know y'all gonna be on here. All my old heads. There's Q in the Philippines. What's up? He says traveling 8,000 miles for a woman that has 8,000 miles is crazy. Yeah, we'll talk about that today. What's up, Jacob John J? All my fourth quarter members, Jeffrey Tatter. He said, good topic for discussion. Everybody needs to pitch in on this one. I seen Roger Walker on here. Any new viewers and subscribers join us today? Welcome. And anybody catching this on replay? The peso is 57.07. So it's back up to the 57, which is good. Roger Walker, he says, good morning, good evening, Cal and everybody. How's the weather down there in Alabama, Roger? What time's it travel? Said, what's up, everybody? You know, we always have a topic. Today's topic is if a billionaire can date a used up single mother, why can't I? Among other things, you know, it's the rainy season here, man. It made me think about something when I read about the ferry that capsized over in Vietnam and 38 people died. A lot of that happens over here too. If you come over here, be careful. The weather can change on a dime, and it usually does. It hasn't raining now, but it has been. You get out on that sea, all of a sudden it starts raining, and wind whips up, man, and you basically at the mercy of Mother Nature. Always know what the weather's like where you're going. Like it costs you your life over here. I wanted to bring that up. You know, it's a lot of inter-island traveling that goes on over here. You know, that's how you get from one island to the next. Most of the time, you know, unless you want to fly, but I can't fly from St. Carlos City to Cebu or Dumaguete to Siquijor Island, which remember, August 2nd is the meet and greet. I hope everybody who can come will come. It's going to be nice. A lot of people's coming. They've even started a Facebook group in St. Carlos City about, you know, the Siquijor Island meet and greet. So it's a lot of interest. A lot of women are going to be there. What's up, JG, BK? But yeah, man, I'm gonna tell you something. W Secret Success, he said something to me today. He said, Cal, I saw your video. He said, man, you can't get caught up in this news cycle over here in America, man. It drives you crazy. And I think that's what happened to me. But this is day 3 of, you know, of limiting my screen time, meaning I'm not reading anything on Yahoo, no Facebook, Reddit, Quora. I'm not even watching any videos on YouTube. And that's just for me, man. You know, when I stopped drinking, they didn't stop making alcohol. Okay, I share my story a lot of times because maybe somebody else can relate and reevaluate their situation. But just because I stopped drinking don't mean I can't walk into a bar every now and then if I want to. Does that make me a hypocrite? God forbid if I got a job where they serve beer and alcohol, like a waiter or something, but I'm not on a crusade. I just had to turn the noise down, man. It got too loud for me. And I feel a lot better, man. I slept so good last night. I mean, every time you turn it on, it's just all about the Epstein thing. And what really frustrates me is nothing's going to happen. You know, nothing's going to happen. It never does. They get you all riled up like that. So I said, um, I'm not going to fall into it anymore. Hey, what's up, man? From Somalia. Now, is that Somalia? Where is that? Is this Africa? But that's all I was talking about, man. You know, when I stopped drinking, the whole world didn't stop drinking. I got a problem with alcohol. You may not. You may not have a problem with social media. I do. What's up, Kevin? There's a lot of interest in Vietnam too. A guy sent me an email today. He's a business owner in Vietnam. He's about ready to get married to a Vietnamese woman, and I may collab with him. I may interview him because a lot of interest on Vietnam here lately. But also, you know, we were talking about that. You know, what's the difference between Filipinas in America and Filipinas here? It's a big difference. I mean, and if you didn't know, you know now. They just look the same. I believe Cisco is married to a Filipino who's been in America a long time. He would know. But I would rather have the original. I would rather have the woman with the cultural differences going on because it's like night and day. Their whole attitudes, man. When I went to that Filipino mass, I couldn't believe it. My buddy, shout out to Freddie Sanders, man. He messaged me. He sent me an email. He said, Calvin Jollibee in Chicago. They looking right through me. He says, a big difference. That was the name of the email. I can tell the difference. I bet you can. What's up, Audrey? You know, it's just a whole attitude thing, man. You know, Filipinos have been in America for a long time. Right after the Spanish American War, they came over. He said, what's going on, brother? How's the flood in Negros Occidental? Well, we didn't get hit with the flood here. One of the reasons I built where I did, we don't get a flood here, but in some areas of St. Carlos City, it does flood, but not a whole lot. And not like it was in Cebu. Did y'all see the floods in Cebu, Zamboanga? I mean, man, it was bad. It was a state of calamity in Cebu. That one Gasano Mall, man, the bottom floor was flooded. They had a line and they were passing from one person to the other the items to get it up to a dry part. Yeah, he said Trump has stopped direct flights to Mexico, citing tariff violations. That's crazy. Oh well. Yeah, I'm not dealing with that Trump. Hey, what's up? He said, big hug for you, brother Cal. Greetings from Boston. I went to the Tall Ships Festival when I was in the Navy in Boston. Met a young lady there, nice young lady. She was from, I want to say Jamaica because she had some Jamaican rum. And she told me before we drank it, she said, we call this truth serum for obvious reasons. You start drinking it, man, there ain't no more secrets. And hell, I just remember waking up, you know, all in her guts. But then I just remember that. And then um, being on the ship. But she warned me. He said, most of us are Tiger Woods dating single mothers with baggage claims. You know, I didn't want to be dick watching, basically, when I made that statement. I guess technically I was, and I really don't dick watch. Honestly, I don't. I don't care who you mess with. It just, him being Tiger Woods. It just, I'm thinking to myself, dude, you can have just about any woman you want. Why would you want Trump Jrs. leftovers? I mean, 5 children, 47. It's not like she's a beautiful woman. It really wouldn't matter, but I'm just saying, like, damn, Tiger. I mean, does that have a lot to do with more with Tiger than her? Is it his low self-esteem? I mean, what is it with that, man? But I mean, if he can date that, I mean, why do y'all get on somebody's case? Because I put down here some of the most successful men in America have dated and married single mothers. What does that say about single mothers? What does that say about us? I guess if you can afford to date a single mother, why not? Because that's a lot of times that's what it boils down to. The conversation does. You know, you see the broke guys talking about, I don't date single mothers because we look at it from a financial point of view. But yeah, Tiger Woods, man, I'm like, come on, Tiger Woods, what's up? I mean, that really shocked me, man. Have y'all seen Donald Trump? He just looks high all the time now. He looks like he's off on some methamphetamine all the time. He said, do they supply life jackets on the ferry? They absolutely do. Nobody wears them. They're probably so old, I don't even know if they would work. But yeah, they're there. I mean, most of them, I mean, they've never been taken out of the packaging. I mean, it just goes to show you how crazy we are. It's like we're not even, of course, we're not expecting to be in an accident, but we're certainly not prepared. And then when they do the emergency procedures and, the presentation, nobody paying attention. And so a lot of people end up dying in these ferry accidents when they shouldn't die. They drown because they don't have the life vests on. And a lot of people simply just can't swim. I'm glad my mother taught us to swim when we were little. My mother used to be a lifeguard in her younger days. And if you can't swim and you come to the Philippines, man, I would say take some swimming lessons because a lot of those people drown. They can't swim. The little 10-year-old boy, he survived. He said he held his breath and dived down and went through he said, an opening, and he came up and started screaming for help. And a boat came and rescued him because he knew how to swim. What's up, Juice? He says, all the men and women in the Billionaires Club do is date and divorce each other, repeating the same cycle. I noticed that. I noticed a lot of rich people, they marry each other's wives and stuff like that. Like, Tom Brady, the wife that divorced him, right? She used to date, what's his name? The actor. And now the man who's used to be her trainer, they're dating. But does that say something about our character? Why should we care? Why so much importance? I mean, I get it. You say, well, I don't. Most of us just don't want to take care of another man's child, basically. But would it be okay if she doesn't have any children, but she's had 10 men, which is better. But you see, like Jeff Bezos, and look at the woman he married. She's been married. Um, I know she's been married once, and then she had a baby by Tony Gonzalez, the football player. So imagine going behind him, big 6'5", 260-pounder. You know, they were together for a long time, and sure was her husband. Now Jeff Bezos. But maybe we're putting too much importance on the role that a woman should play in our life. You know, maybe they just want somebody they can trust and basically honest. You know, it doesn't have a lot to do with whether she got kids or not. But it's always the broke men who's got the highest, standard. I don't know. I'm just saying, guys. I'm almost done with this book, by the way. I put it down. I got 26 more pages left in this book. See, I'm right here. Actually, I got 26 more pages. It's very interesting because he's in Spain right now during the Spanish Civil War. And who had heard of that? And then who had ever known? I didn't even know that 2,800 Americans volunteered to fight in the Spanish Civil War to stop fascists. General Franco. A lot of them were black. It's interesting, man. I didn't know. And now this is before Malcolm X. This is before any of them. He was interviewing one of the black soldiers who was basically in transport. And here's what the brother said. This is in 1937 when he said this. He said, black people, but he said Negroes, because that was the language in 1937. He said Negroes should become more international in their viewpoint and activities. Then they would understand their own problems better and see their relationship to similar problems elsewhere in the world. This guy's name was Bernard Rucker. He was part of the International Brigade. And I just thought, man, is that a noble cause, a foolish cause? But they volunteered to fight in that war. Some of them were paid, obviously, but many of them were college graduates. They were going to college. Then all of a sudden, they dropped everything and went over there to fight for Spain in Madrid. Hey, Confident Voice Speaks. Thanks for that super chat. He says, if I'm dating a single mother and I observe the great treatment of her kids, it's a sign if she will be a good woman or not. What do you think? Well, that's basically one of the things I look for. If you're not going to treat your children good, you certainly aren't going to treat me good. And it has a lot to do with character. I've dated single mothers, obviously, and I've dated, single women. And honestly, I don't see any difference. And, dating a single mother, though, is more expensive, obviously, because you gotta take care of her and her children. But it never really mattered to me. But that's certainly one of the things that I look for. And I look for more in a woman than whether or not. I think it's pretty shallow to me. I mean, don't get me wrong, people have their preferences. I just think it's pretty shallow to me that that's the only thing you look for in a woman, basically, is that's a deal breaker. But a lot of men are lying. You know good and well you'll screw a single mother. You may not marry her. But some of them women are fine as hell. And you ain't gonna turn it down. You may not marry her, but if she wants to give you the tune-up, you all for it, man. But we always look at things from a financial point of view. And I guess them rich guys, they can afford to date anybody they want. But is it just a choice? Why is it like a stain on men? They look at it as if it's a stain on men. It's just a choice we make. That's all. Why we make such a big deal out of that? He said, man, the politics here with Trump in the White House would drive you crazy. This dude is something else, man. You know, I was just talking about the Spanish Civil War. They were fighting against fascism, and people volunteered from all over the world, 2,800 Americans to fight against that. But we don't live in that age anymore. People really aren't, people don't care what's going on in the rest of the world. They only care what's going on in front of them and not realizing, just like this man had said in 1937, it's really all connected. There's a relationship with all of it. Excuse me. And certainly when it comes to the elites, but we don't seem to care, you know, because a lot of people died over there. Now, I don't know, man. I just don't know. Life is too precious for me, man. I mean, see, I don't believe in that buy and buy stuff. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, really. You know, for so many people's sake, you know, to give up your life like that. Because, you know, he quoted something because he was talking about this one sergeant, the black guy. His name was Milton Hearnden from Atlanta. This is 1937, okay? And he says, you know, that's the reason he went to the front. He wanted to interview him because he knew his brother back in the States. Well, he died. He got killed trying to save one of his men who had gotten shot. Well, he took two to the head. That's what happened. Okay. But he says he used that. What's that? You've heard this before. Uh, Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friend. I mean, that sounds good. That sounds good. But you know, life is too precious. This is all we got as far as I'm concerned. You don't know what else is behind that curtain. Now, if it's somebody in my family, like one of my children, like Booby or somebody, one of my children or something like that, grandchildren, you know, and I'm 62 already, but these are young guys. I just think it's all rhetoric, man, to me, man. You know, I just think that for us to let these people become so powerful in the first place, man, that's what's going on. We just sit back and watch it happen. And then we have to die to stop them. I don't know, man. I think differently than everybody else, man. What's going on? But yeah, we'll make a big deal out of dating a single mother. They'll call you weak for that. They call me weak when I stop drinking. Guess what? A lot of people who call me weak when I stop drinking, oh, you can't handle alcohol, you know, this and that, right? They're dead now from drinking and getting high. The same people. They called me weak for doing that. And the same people say, oh, yeah, you're weak. You can't handle social media, blah, 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 this and that. You're going to lose your damn mind. I can only speak for myself. I got to look out for myself. You still in the Virgin Islands? Confident Voice Speaks? What's up? He said most women that migrate to the USA will eventually assimilate the Western culture. Some fully, some minimal, but certainly changes are coming. Yeah, but it takes a while. It takes a while, though. Because you can tell by the way they dress. That's a dead giveaway. You can tell a woman who migrated to the U.S. or was born over there. Because even now, and you can even look, because I had to have a discussion with my wife when I went home about the clothes she was buying my son. It was like something out of the okay. And the same with her clothes. You know, it's just simple. They just look like they're in the Philippines, but they're in America. But the Filipinos who were born in America, no, they dress just like the women over there. Talk the same and everything. But yeah, it takes a while. because she's been there 11 years, you know, and they pick up some things, you know, like, you know, she likes to gamble. He said, monetary. But you know, you have that discussion because people seem to think that, you know, I would rather have a original woman over here. Of course you would, because a regular woman's not even gonna give you the time of the day. She's gonna ignore you over there, and they're gonna ignore you here. Really, there's only a select group of women over here that's gonna give you the time of day. But y'all don't listen to me. Y'all listening to these other guys who telling you that they're coming over here, getting in the face of these young women over here. They're lying, man. I've been over here for a long time. Does that happen? Yeah, but that would tell you something about the woman. If she's 25 and she's gonna let a 70-year-old man, you know, court her out in open. If she does, she's got a profile on the dating site to begin with. She's already out there on the dating site. They're the only ones that's gonna fool with you. Now, after you here for a while and they get to know you and see who you are, still the same, basically. You know, like now, if me and Marilyn were to break up, I wouldn't need to get on a dating site if I stayed here in San Carlos City, but it's still going to be the same thing, man. You know, they're just not interested in old men. He said, what's the peso today? Any good news? Actually, it is 57.07. It's went over to 57. It was a little bit higher yesterday. As long as it's over 50, believe it or not, man, um, it's good. He said billionaires can afford an army of nannies in boarding school. Yeah, I think that's what it boils down to, Bill, on Bass. Billionaire people with money, they can afford to date whoever they want. I guess you have to be able to afford to be able to date us or marry a single mother. That's really what it boils down to. But it seems to me like the broke guys are the ones with the highest standards. They say, oh, don't date that. But here's Tiger Woods. He's worth $1 billion. Jeff Bezos is one of the richest men in the world. I mean, look who he married. He said, yeah, the Filipinos here in the States are stuck up. Yeah, they're stuck up just like all the other women over there. It just, you know, I was going to talk about this before. I don't know why I didn't. And then Freddie Sanders, he emailed me today. He said, Calvin Jollibee's in Chicago. And there's a big difference. Nobody's paying him any attention. And I was like, I believe it. I've seen it myself. Because let's be honest, a lot of the Filipinos that you meet over there, they were born and raised in America. They're Americans. They've been there a long, long time, man. And then even more come over there on their own, on the strength of their own um, ability as nurses, caregivers, teachers, and all of that. And there's a lot of women over here who simply don't need you to get to where they're going. They're not interested. But, you know, I'm going to do a video, and I've talked about this a lot, but, you know, I'm going to, you know, talk a little bit more in depth about it. It's like, at this stage in our lives, does love really matter? Because I was chatting with Harry Shoulders today, Robert Dane, and he was talking about we mistake attention for, did he say attraction? Or whatever it was, I said, at this stage in our life, does it really matter? If you're 62 years old like I am, or Robert Dame is 69, he'll be 70. Does love really matter, man? You know, because I've had enough of that kind of love. I got right here, you know, to last me a lifetime, really. I'm good. You know, mutual respect and honesty will suit me just fine. You know, because what is love anyway, man? You know, we mistake love for euphoria, infatuation, a lot of stuff. But why is it important for somebody to love you at this stage in your life? And how would you know anyway? How would you know if somebody loves you? Do you ever really know? I don't think they do. But for some reason, we just won't let that go, that women over here, you know, want us for what we can do for them, what we've got and what we can do for them. In a lot of instances, guys, we're the difference between, I mean, a hard life and basically uh, starvation in a lot of cases. You know, that's not the full story. That's just part of the story. So they get on the dating sites, but what difference does it make? Just don't, you know, steal from me, you know, and all of that. Don't try to use me. I mean, you be honest with me, I'm gonna be honest with you. Hey, he said, I just got back from the Ville. I just like that drive from Nebraska. Always worth seeing family. Yeah, I put so many miles on my car. I used to get my tires rotated every month, believe it or not, because I put over 3,000 miles on my car. Every time I get my oil change, I would get my tires rotated. I was getting my oil change every month. They say every 3,000 miles. Sometimes it would be 4,000 miles. But I'm burnt out on driving. He said the ones in America don't need you. Yeah. But those women over here don't need you. We think that for some reason all Filipinos like us or want us or need us. It's not true. You know, I remember there was a quack doctor that every man has a story Mark Thornton interviewed. And he was like, yeah, I disagree with Cal when he says only a small amount of Filipinos want us, the ones on the dating site, you know. And that's the only problem I ever had with Mark Thornton. He let the man sit there for 15 minutes and basically dog me up, like give his opinion about me. Well, if you're going to do that, let me sit on the other side of him. But anyway, he claims that's not true. You got to see this guy. Go back to Mark Thornton's um, library and you'll see him where he interviews this quack doctor. And you see what he looks like. And like, dude, women over here don't want you. Are you crazy? What makes you think they're any different than any other women, for real? They certainly don't want him, man. He look worse than me. I mean, 10 times worse than me. You know, that's why when Alan Dershowitz said that lady mistook him for somebody else, dude, you're lying. That woman ain't mistook you from nobody else. He's one of the ugliest human beings on the planet, Alan Dershowitz. Ain't nobody gonna mistake that face, buddy. That was you getting that massage. He even admitted it. Said he just didn't take his underwear off. But that's the type of face this guy had. And he really thinks these women over here want him. You know, they keep interviewing that 71-year-old man. Somebody else interviewed him again. And he's saying the same thing. Dude, they don't want you. They want your pension. He said, yeah, the water was chest high in Cebu. Oh, man, it was bad, man, in Cebu. They declared a state of calamity. But it was even worse in Zamboanga City. I knew where I was staying was flooded because it always floods. I was lucky those 6 months I was there during the pandemic and lockdowns that it didn't flood. He said, I like to travel for the fruit from the original tree. It tastes much sweeter, Cal. I'm the same way because I just like the cultural difference. I don't want basically the same thing. She just looks Filipino. I don't want anything American anymore. I don't want an American car. I don't want any of that. I don't want anything from America. He said, I'm going to be in Cebu on the 30th, man. I can make it out to you, or do you want to meet up somewhere, big bro? Do a double date or stay at your place in St. Carlos? Well, if you're going to be in Cebu on the 30th, you might as well come to the meet and greet August 2nd in Sikihor, because that's where we're going to be. Bring your girl there, man. She'll enjoy that place. And then take on the tour of the island. That's what I would do, because you would ride. You can catch a ferry from the ocean jet from Cebu City to Sikihor Island. It'll go from Cebu to Tagbilaran and Bohol, then from Tagbilaran and Bohol to Sikihor. It's like 3.5 hours. He said, Tiger has low self-esteem. Something's going on with him. Because, after he left his wife, which his wife was a nanny, but she was nice looking, but hell, the woman that he eventually got with after that, that little tomboy looking woman that he would carry around with him on tour, now this one, I don't really care, man. It just, with him, it makes me scratch my head, because you can have just about any woman you want, Tiger. I mean, your choice of women is really bad for somebody with that kind of money. He said, single is okay, used up is not. Well, that's one thing we do. We look at single mothers as if they've been used up because they've already been with a man. And this is the way we look at it. We're shallow like that. It doesn't matter that a woman's been with 10 men as long as she don't have kids, because you would never know. You're going to know if a woman's a single mother because she got the children there. And I guess, what you don't know won't hurt you. He said Tiger Woods doesn't date anyone that he's intimidated by. I guess. And I don't think a single mother, 47-year-old, bleach blonde, Donald Trump's ex-wife, Donald Trump Jr.'s ex-wife, with 5 children, I don't think she's going to intimidate anybody. I mean, I was really shocked that they were dating, man. I don't care who he screwed. Okay? He said a reformed single mom is actually easy to deal with. Yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of choice, really. It doesn't have anything to do with your character. And this is what men are trying to do. They're trying to shame you. Okay? Certainly some of these guys out here, because if you're getting married in America to a woman, there's a 50% chance that you're creating a single mother. More than likely, she's going to be a single mother because you're not going to stay with her. And then, not only that, but as you get older, you eventually going to break up with her anyway. We don't age the same. And you're going to create a single mother. Tiger created a single mother. Look at it. He married that woman. I guess she was, she was single, but when he left her, she was a single mother. He said, we caught the ferry in Santander to get the Sicky oil from Argyle. Yeah. All up and down Cebu Island, there's a way that, they got those ferry ports. Because when I went to Bantayan Island, I actually went from here. I didn't even have to go through Cebu City like we normally do. We caught the bus to Escalante City, then caught the ferry over to, I forgot the name of that, Cebu, and then caught the bus from there. But it's going to be nice, man. It's going to be a lot of people. No, we're not. We're not. We're just having a conversation. I really don't care. It just, we're talking about the stigma surrounding single mothers. And then if you date a single mother, I certainly marry one, they're going to try to shame you. They're going to say you're less than. And I don't buy into that. I don't buy into it. There's more. I would rather have a single mother with a good character than a single woman that, that's loose. And either way it goes, like I said, there's a 50-50 chance you're going to create a single mother. He said, people like Tiger and Trump travel in a very small circle. They date within that circle, proximity. Yeah, that's what they was talking about earlier. They keep marrying the same people over and over, but it don't mean nothing though, man. Okay, I think Tiger's kids go to the same school as her kids. 5 children, man. Tiger's young. I mean, you gotta realize this entire Tiger, what is he, Korean? Thai? He's something like that. Doesn't he even embrace his mother's side of the family? Like, dude, you could have some beautiful Thai women or Korean women or whatever it is that his mother was. It's like he don't even embrace her side. I meant to say today that I've got a friend here. He was raised in Australia. Okay, but he's still Australian. I said, but he's still American. He can't speak one bit. I saw him at the gym the other day. I was like, hey, can you speak any Tagalog? Because his mother is Filipino, 100% Filipino. Visayan ain't none of it. He can't speak any of it. He's just not interested. He's Australian, let him tell it. He's a cool guy too. I'm just saying that it would be the same thing as when you met a Filipino who was raised in America. A lot of them are uninterested in learning the language. My sons are different. They were born here, so their mothers came from here and migrated to America. I mean, in the last 10 or 12 years. So they're still bilingual. Their mothers talk to them in Bisaya. And so they know that language. They know it very well. They'll know it to the time that they die. But some people, when their mothers move to these foreign countries, they don't talk the native language. They talk, whatever the language is of the new country. But yeah, I was shocked because it just hit me to ask him because, I got 2 sons that's feeling him, but he's half Australian, half Filipino. And I just asked him. But he does not look, because, our genes are so strong. This guy, okay, he just looks like an Australian guy. Because I guess his father's genes are so strong. He just looks like an Australian. You would never know in a million years that he was 50-50. And I just told him, man, I said, look, man, if you was to embrace your Filipino side, man, you would be like a matinee star here. These guys only like 30 or 31 or something like that. He certainly be a model here. He certainly be in the TV, but he won't do it. You know, in his mind, he's Australian, which I guess he is. He said, got Louis Rectus is running around. Yeah, he said, why go behind Trump? Tiger could have any model he wanted. This is the $1,000,000 question. When I found out he was dating Donald Trump Jr.'s ex, come on, man, you on a whole other level than Donald Trump Jr. He's some spoiled, rotten, you know. He had 5 children by the woman. 5. He said, I must be totally frank. Says I would date a single mother. I guess it would depend on how many children. I've never dated a woman that had over 1 child. Well, Maryland had 2, but that's my limit. I don't think I would want. I don't think I can handle any more than that. It gets complicated because we never really talked about that part of it. I must be totally frank. A single mother with 1 child, what's the big deal with that? But a single mother with 4 or 5 children, yeah, that's a whole other story. Or 6. There's men over here who are dating single mothers with 6 children and 7. See, you got to draw the line somewhere. All single mothers the same? I don't think so. It's more manageable if you're going to deal with a woman who only has 1 or 2. But I forgot to mention Michael Onstad. You know, remember I interviewed him a couple of times. He's the guy to see over here in the Philippines for health insurance, if you're interested. He just had a meet and greet. And I apologize, Mike. I had that down, but I didn't announce it. It was July the 15th in Angeles City. But I always promote him, man, because I think it's important. So if you're an expat over here and you're interested in getting health insurance, he would be the one to see. He's like the liaison over here between you and the company. But we always look at it as okay, yeah, he's Thai and black. Okay, so, but he acts like he never even embraces his Thai side. Imagine if he went over there in Thailand, the fun he could have. But he wants some old used up, worn out woman. Every hole has been stretched beyond usefulness by Donald Trump Jr. Come on, man. What I don't know won't hurt me. I've never seen Maryland's ex. What I don't know won't hurt me. When you date a single mother over here, you really don't deal with the father like you do over there. But to know him, to see him right there in his face, be like, this was who you used to sleep with every night. You sucking his damn dick every night. Fuck that. I'm sorry. I ain't with that. He's Korean and black. Well, either way, though, I'm just saying. It just doesn't seem like he embraces that side of his family. He says she's from Thailand. Okay, they're gonna go back and forth. I think that's how the father met her. Okay, yeah, his mother's Thai. I know she pass recently. But these are guys who, you can't call them weak, because they're successful. I mean, you can't really knock them in that aspect the way we always trying to judge people based on their bank account. They're at the top of the heap. And they're dating and marrying single mothers. Look who Jeff Bezos married. Like, man, what is going on? I'm saying. nothing as far as I'm concerned, but it just makes you scratch your head. Oh, okay, yeah. His mother's from Thailand. He said Tiger's 49, but he claims he's not black. He's very delusional. Well, they look at him as black, no matter what he thinks. And, technically he's not black, but, he's got brown skin. So, they're going to look at him around the world as brown, which is not a knock, guys, And that's okay. On the video today, when I was putting in my information in the comments, the lady says, "Oh, Filipinos in America typically don't date black men." Like, okay, what's the big deal? Okay, I don't apologize for being black. There's nothing wrong with that. That is so antiquated, and we've got to get beyond that. Okay, because sometimes, man, the poorest people in the world think that they're better than you because you're black. And I say, well, it's none of my business what they think about me. Go buy you some damn shoes. Get a damn job. Go to school and get an education. While you worry about whether or not you're better than me or not. There's more things that you should be worried about. But wherever we go, we have to deal with the color line in 2025. And I don't even pay any attention anymore. I really don't, man. He said, that's interesting. I didn't know Tiger was blazing, black and Asian. Well, hell, where you been? His mother would be at every time he won a tournament. Even if he was in a tournament, they would flash the camera toward her way. He was more dominant in his stretch when he was rolling. Tiger was more dominant than any player, any sports athlete has ever been. If you look his statistics up, man, he was like 1,000 strokes better than the second man, than the man that came behind him. I mean, he dominated golf that bad. I mean, he was really, he just, he exceeded everybody's expectations. Imagine when you do that. He's like LeBron James was. Because nobody expected Michael Jordan to be Michael Jordan. But LeBron James has had that label stuck on him ever since I ever heard of him. And to be able to carry that all the way through for how many years, 20 something years, I think it's amazing. Nobody else has ever been able to do it. They've always fallen short. Tiger did it. He said, one thing's for sure, you're not going to get any badges of honor for marrying a single mother. Normally, the percentages, believe it or not, is that somehow the man is the lucky one. Yeah, I mean, we look at it we always look at it from the man's point of view as if we're getting cheated. And it's like a stain on your character or something. Can't you do better? Juice. I just think it's shallow. I've never looked at it like that. I don't know. And a lot of these guys are lying. You don't have to marry a single mother, but I'm sure that you would screw her if she let you, because we're still going for the outside appearance. But again, when you get on social media, everybody's the exception. Everybody's the exception. So that's one thing you got to deal with in social media. They just throw everybody together and think we're going to get along. So when you talk about single mothers, I never dated a single mother. I would never, how would you know? I mean, what's the big deal about that? No, there's nothing wrong, Q, because you stay confused. We're not putting Tiger down. We're saying if he can do it, why can't I do it? He's a billionaire. He can have any woman in the world, and he's dating a single mother. So why you want to try to put me down when, hell, I'm just a middle class guy? That's all. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. Read the title. It says, if a billionaire can date a used up single mother, why can't I? We're talking about the stigma associated with dating single mothers, Q. Okay? That's all I'm saying. You're not confused. You just want to cause problems. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a big difference. Maryland don't have 5 children, and I don't have $1 billion. Okay, because it would be different, I'm sure. But yeah, it's a big difference, Q. Okay? All you got to do is sit there and think about it. Yeah, it's a big difference. Maryland don't got 5 children. And I'm not a billionaire. So yeah, it's a big difference. You just want to be confused. The video I made the other day, I'm trying to think. And you came on there and said, your comment was speak for yourself. And I forgot what the video was. Like that woman don't want you for your money or what you can do for her. Like you somehow different. But this is what we run into on the internet. Everybody's the exception. It doesn't matter that you're 30 years old. You might as well be 80. It's the same thing. She would have dated an 80-year-old man, your wife or your girlfriend. Okay? That's all I'm saying. He said, no, Tiger's mother is Filipino, not Thai. Now y'all got me confused. Is she Korean? Is she Filipino? Is she Thai? Somebody look it up real quick. What's up, Sydney? Yeah, we had some good steaks over Sydney's house, 4th of July. He said, right meals, the more money you got over there, the bigger simp you are. I don't know. We're just talking about a man who could have, we're talking about the stigma surrounding dating single mothers. He says there's nothing wrong with a man dating a woman with 5 children. Well, it's all subjective, Kate Downs. It's all subjective. I mean, we could have anything that you say, somebody else is going to say, oh, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just the world we live in. Certainly not a crime. Are you dating a woman with 5 children? Of course, there's nothing wrong with it. There's no crime. But to be a billionaire, you would think, man, that's a lot of children. And you know good and well, okay, if you ever dated a single mother with children old enough to know who their father is and everything, you're not the father. And I can imagine all the ninjas he is when they get mad and what they're saying behind his back. You know, so yeah, it could be a problem with that situation. But it's a choice that he made. I mean, he can't complain because he created a single mother. Tiger did. And a lot of the guys who say they won't date single mothers are creating single mothers. Certainly, if you get married in America, chances are you're going to create a single mother. I'm saying there's nothing wrong with it. If Jeff Bezos can marry a used up single mother Why would you get on my case? He's one of the richest men in the world. This is the discussion we're having, guys. We're not saying it's a crime. We're not saying there's anything wrong with it. Because obviously I'm dating a single mother now. I've never had a problem with it. My wife, I created a single mother. When I met my Filipino wife, she had no children. Okay. But we got married in America. So the odds was that I was going to create a single mother, and that's what I did. Well, it's what we did. I'm not justifying being with single mothers, Larry Mills. Who are you? It's a choice that men make. You're not bad. You're not any better. It's guys like you who get over here thinking you're better. Tiger Woods is a billionaire. Okay, if you don't want to date single mothers, that's okay. But don't try to make it be some type of stigma against a man. Okay, this is where I get off the rails with you guys like that. Like you got it going on. If that's your choice, that's fine. But don't put down a man because he dates a single mother. I'm not justifying anything. He said she's a mixture of Thai, Chinese, and Dutch. Oh, okay, well, we got that settled. But yeah, see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. When guys like Larry Mills, if that's your preference, then do it. But pretty soon, you're going to be faced with that situation. Since she was born in Thailand. Okay. Thank y'all. He said Tiger's mother, yeah. Yeah, because this is just a shallow way of looking at things. As if we all grew up perfect. Your mother was probably a single mother. Okay, if you grew up if you're any ages, I know my mother and father were married for 26 years. And when he left, she became a single mother. Okay? I'm sorry. But that's just fact. Okay? Even if they die, it's a single mother. There's no difference really. You with me, it doesn't matter. So you would rather deal with a woman who's made bad decisions but doesn't have children. What's the difference, Larry? Okay, what's the difference? Okay, because the women you're dealing with, they suck 10 to 12 dicks anyway in America. So you're not saying a whole lot. Okay, that's all I'm saying. But don't try to put yourself on a pedestal. You don't have to be a stepfather. You can date single mothers without marrying them. But you guys come on here and come to the Philippines because you can't get anybody in your own country. So that makes us all in the same group, the 8,000 mile club. By the way, I have those 8,000 mile patches at this meet and greet. I had them at my last meet and greet. My man was everywhere. I just got back from America and I didn't even, announce it. But you're still in the same club. You got to come 8,000 miles for a woman. Are you coming 8,000 miles for a woman, whether she's single or not, or a single mother? So all this I'm better than you stuff, I'm not going to have it, man. I'm not going to have it. That's the problem. We always want to try to put other people down based on their decision. When we're all in the same damn bucket, basically. If you live in my neighborhood, you don't have no more than I've got. And I try to explain that to my children when they're growing up. If you're in the same damn neighborhood as me, if you live in the same neighborhood, you ain't got no more than I got. So you coming over here to the Philippines, it don't matter why you coming, or to Thailand. Okay, no matter what you think. You're in the same ball game. He said, you need to ask yourself, does she add value or create chaos in your life? That's with any woman. Okay. But to just base it on the fact that, oh, I'm not going to date a woman because she got a child or two. Yeah, if somebody got 5 or 6 children, yeah, I mean, you got to draw a line somewhere. I do. But that's with any woman. Okay. Does she add value or create chaos in your life? And then remember, I'm talking about us expat living overseas. Right now, I'm not talking about men in general. I'm talking about us. We're older. She's probably thinking the same thing. Does this man add any value? Or is he going to create chaos in my life? We look at it like, we're the big dogs because of our pension. We don't realize that we're over here because nobody really wants us in our country. Our choices, we don't like the choices that we have in our own country. I'm just asking men to be a little bit more humble. And certainly at this stage in our life, but y'all refuse to. Once you cross that international timeline, you become a big dog. Okay? You're only fooling yourself. You're not fooling me. Once we cross that timeline, now you're the big dog. When you go back over there, you're lonely and isolated again. You're basically nothing. But I just think it's a man's choice. That's all. But it just seems like the guys who are struggling, who really don't have a whole lot of money and a whole lot going on, have the highest standards. And then they try to force those standards on every other man. Oh, you're weak for dating a single mother. What would make you want to be a stepfather to some other woman's mistake? Well, bad decision. Well, who says it was her bad decision? As if we've all had, how many relationships have we had, guys? On here. I already did a video on that. 10 to 12, if you're honest, in your lifetime. Okay? So who am I to talk about character and all that in a woman when my picker is just as broke as hers? He said, I can be more humble, but the condition of our adult kids have to be taken into consideration too. Oh, okay, so what? So you're talking about something totally different. Because there's different levels to this single mother discussion. I'm glad you brought this up. What if she got grown kids and they got their own life? Okay, because if you're in a delusion that you're only going to date women without children, you got to date young, man. That's just a fact. Because I would question a woman who's 40 years old who doesn't have any children. Like, well, why don't you have children? Would you have an abortion or something? That's a whole other discussion. But I'm saying, so if you want to really date a woman with no children, but that doesn't guarantee anything. Okay, that she's going to add value and not create chaos just because she doesn't have children. But yeah, you bring a whole other uh, dynamic into the conversation. Grown children. I just think this in these modern times, we become modern men. A lot of us. We talk about the modern women. We become modern men. In my father's day, they didn't care nothing about it. My mother was a single mother when my mother had one child that she had when she was 19 when my father met her. It didn't matter to them back in those days. But I guess now it matters. Okay, but does that make you better than anybody? But how many girlfriends have you had, Larry? is what I'm asking you. You know, for you to put yourself on a pedestal thinking you're the perfect mate, you're not. Because you've been kicked to the curb, okay? Maybe that has a lot to do with it. You've been kicked to the curb, dude. It doesn't make you any better than anybody else simply because you can't choose a woman and stay with her. How many relationships have you had? We don't care. So that makes you special because you never had a girlfriend that had kids. That's all I'm saying. How many relationships have you had? 7, he said. Okay, you're a loser like the rest of us. Okay? You wouldn't even be on this live stream if you was all that over there where you live, wherever you're from. Okay, only a certain people are on these live streams and follow these blogs over here. Okay, we're not satisfied with the options that we're presented with in our own country. Okay, that's just a nice way of saying you can't get any damn bag. Nobody wants you over there. Okay, unless she's a 62-year-old woman, probably had her pussy sold up. Okay, got grown kids that's gonna, want to fight you anytime she gets mad at you and all that. But it's just a nice way of saying you can't get anybody in your home country. So you come over here. But I made the 8,000 Mile Club just so we can throw out all of that I'm better than you stuff. I don't care how old you are, how much money you make, how much wealth you have, how good looking you are. If you coming over here, we're all in that same club. Okay? You can spend it any way you want. You can spend it any way you want. We all in that same club. Doesn't matter how old you are, guys, okay? These young guys seem to think, oh, that I'm different. No, you're not. You come 8,000 miles for a girlfriend. Period. End of story. But we want to make ourselves, I'm better than you. I got more money than you got. Yeah, but you still come 8,000 miles. So that makes us even. Okay? Because you're not going to get anything any better than what I've got over here with all the money you got. That's all. But he's the type of guy that I made the 8,000 Mile Club for. Why would he even be coming over here? Maybe he's one of those guys that comes over here just to see the Manila skyline or scuba dive and all that. He's not gonna fool with the women. He's not attracted to Filipino women. But that's what you run into on the internet. Well, I don't care. He's not throwing shade on me. I mean, remember, guys, this is what social media is. We created guys like Larry Mills. Okay? He doesn't know any of us. Okay? He'll be lucky if he ever gets to be 62. There ain't no shame in my game. I'm so proud to be 62 right now, in my right state of mind, in great health, drinking water right here. Probably in better shape than him. Okay? He may not even be real. Yeah, okay. Well, you're just the exception then, Larry, and we're gonna applaud you. Okay, we're not gonna fight you. That's not what we want to do. You don't come into this community with that sort of attitude. Okay, we want to applaud you. If you're doing all that, you can bring something to the conversation besides arguing and debating, what else can you say that might help us? That might help a young man on here, okay? That's all. That's all I'm saying. If he's all there, why is he on this live stream? We're trying to help everybody to get up to a certain level to do better. But it's all about reality too. Okay? But yeah, I'm glad I'm 62. Yeah, I'm proud as hell. Because well, life is so unpredictable. You don't know how much time you got. Okay? Maryland's best friend just buried her father, 58. Yeah. You like watching travel content. Okay, well, this has nothing to do with travel, basically. We're talking about if a billionaire can date a used up single mother, why can't I? Why are you shaming me if Tiger Woods, who can have any woman basically in the world that he wants, dating a Donald Trump Jr.'s ex-wife with 5 children? So if I want to date Maryland, why do y'all say? Because if you look in the comments, they're saying, why do men come over here and settle for the low-hanging fruit? That's one of the. This is from another video because I'm not reading the comments anymore. But they say, why do men come over here? And I asked the guy, I said, so because he said, yeah, I just left Palawan, he said, and I saw a 70-year-old man with a 26-year-old damn piece. I'm like, well, that's strange. Why would you talk about what another man had? Why don't you talk about the woman you had? But we're not going to argue with you, Larry. No, I'm just saying, I don't consider myself a loser either. But if you watch my video the other day, we're losers. We're in the 8,000 mile club. There's a reason, okay, that you come over here looking for these women. Why would you come? I didn't say for following the Philippines genre. You can follow anything you want to. Okay? We're talking about the men who actually make it over here, Mike D, who are trying to come over here and meet these young women. We're not satisfied with the options that we are presented with in our home country. I mean, you can push back on that all you want. You follow this stuff because you want that too. You want to be real sure that you can have that too. Maybe he wanted her before. Okay, guys. Okay. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with dating a single mother. That's what I'm saying. But getting one without kids is cool too. It's either one or the other, stock guy. Don't you think? That's why the conversation can get shallow. You're either gonna date a woman who has children or not. Well, I guess you could date one that's pregnant, but she's either got children or she doesn't. That's all we're saying. He says, you know what? The question actually is, do people think they are better than Jeff Bezos or Tiger Woods? Well, that's what I said. I said, some of the most successful men in America have dated and married single mothers. What does that say about single mothers? What does that say about us? Larry Mills called Tiger Woods a simp. And then he goes on this tangent about, oh, his wealth don't matter. Yes, it does. They didn't just give Tiger Woods his money or Jeff Bezos their money. They went out and earned it. Okay? This is all I'm saying. But then somebody who's basically broke compared to these two guys has the nerve to try to put them down because of the women they're dating. How crazy is that? So what's the criteria? He said, I thought the goal was to get old. Thank you. But you certainly ain't going to stay the same age. But I like these conversations because it shows you what people's mind is. Okay? He's only lucky if he ever makes it to 62. My father didn't. He expired at 61. And you're going to be dead a long time. Okay? Whenever you die. I two nephews in the last 3 years have died. One was 43, one was 39. These guys didn't make it nowhere near 62. I'm so thankful, man, to be 62. You ain't gonna get no argument out of me. He said 18 to 80, blind, crooked, and crazy. If you can't walk, I'll carry you. I'm gonna still get some until I die, basically. We're not the same. I don't understand what you're saying. He says, I never look down on others. I would always try to lift them up if possible. That's all we're doing here. But every now and then somebody sneaks in here, and instead of adding to the conversation, they want to take away from it. We're like dick watchers on here. We're just saying, why do we put so much importance on the role of the woman? If we're supposed to be all this, because those guys, you can't say they're not successful. So just their choice of women makes them losers, makes them wimps. I don't get that. See, this is where I'm confused, Q, in the Philippines. I'm confused now. We put so much importance on the role of the woman that these guys, they made it. They've got lifetime money. They never have to work another day in their life if they don't want to. But because they choose a single woman or a woman with children, now all of a sudden, they're less than. How? So you're just going to eliminate and wipe out all of their accomplishments? That doesn't mean anything. Only their choice of the woman is going to be their identity. I guess I want to say that's crazy. That's the point I'm trying to make. Is it a character issue? These guys have done, I mean, what many men would never be able to do. I mean, certainly when it comes to both of them in their fields of endeavor. Successful by anybody's definition, but their choice of women. See, this is where I get off the track with you guys. These modern men. You're gonna judge me by the woman I'm with, man. Y'all crazy, man. No wonder why y'all can't get anywhere in life. He said, dating a single mom in the Philippines is a hell of a lot better than what I have. Yeah. You know, I could do worse. I'm telling you that right now. I could do a whole lot worse. But at this stage in my life, Roger, it really doesn't make a lot of difference to me whether a woman has children or not. Okay? Mutual trust. And can you be honest as much as you can be? That's really all I'm worried about. Because I'm responsible for me. I think we just put too much on the importance of the the importance of the role of the woman. If I've already made it, which a lot of men have already made it, they don't need for the woman to do anything but to be with them. So, you can't put that stain on me. You can't knock me down for that. But at this stage in my life, man, that stuff doesn't matter. Now, do I want a woman with 5 children? No. It's all subjective, and, you got to draw the line somewhere. If you don't want a woman with kids, uh, then that's your prerogative. He said, honestly, I think especially if you have children, you really don't have a leg to stand on. I've always said this, out ordinary. I've always said that. If you're a man and you got children, then you say, well, I don't want to date single women. I mean, single mothers. That would be a hypocrite. Okay, that's what that would be. Now, if you're single, like Merlin said on the interview I did, and you don't want to date a woman with children, okay, I don't blame you. But at this stage in our life, most of us men, we already got children. You're gonna bring all that baggage into the relationship, but you don't want her to have any baggage at all. And with a lot of men, as long as she don't have children, she could be a whore, I guess. As long as she don't have children, that's where I draw the line. It's ridiculous. He says, truth be told, single mom has more to gain than a woman without ties. Henceforth, single moms are open to a man who she may not have sought after doing her past. It's all going to come down to a choices that we make anyway. That's your whole life is the aggregate of choices and decisions that you make. I'm not going to put a woman down because she got a child. She could be worse. She could do a whole lot worse things than that. But if that's your prerogative, you say, I don't want to date women with children, okay, that's fine. But at some point, where does it end? Do you just keep jumping from one woman to the next? Because if you marry her and you're in America, odds are you're going to create a single mother. You out here creating single mothers, okay, but you won't date them. He says, at my age, I expect the woman that I'm with to have children. Exactly. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Hell, I don't date babies. My woman had to be at least in her mid-30s. And if she ain't popped out at least one, something's wrong. I just said that, Leroy. You're going to have to date young if you want to date a single mother anywhere. Or some woman who's really not interested in you, who's going to put her career and everything else ahead of you. You just want to hit, she'll let you hit it every now and then. I'm 62. If I date a woman 40 years, I met Meryl when she was 36. Okay. If she would have had children by then, I would have had to ask the question why. Because that clock is running out. But have I dated women with the when I was 46, 47, my wife, the Filipino that I married, she was 24. She didn't have any children. I dated them both. It's really no difference. Except one didn't have children and one did. I mean, the one without children didn't treat me any better than the one with children. And at the, okay, yeah, okay, thank you. See, that's all it is. Then, if you're 30 years younger than me, Larry Mills, then why are you on there even talking like that then? Okay. When I was 32, guess what? I didn't have any children either. I was 32, going on 33 when my daughter was born. I was 31, about to turn 32 when my daughter was born. So I've been there. Keep living, Larry. That's all I'm saying. But don't come on here putting people down, because you're a young man. Let's hope that you do reach a stage where you can have children. Okay? Where you can look at with pride, like I did when my son graduated from middle school with that nice black suit on that I bought him. Okay? Looking sharp. Okay? With his head held high. Okay? Maybe, you can experience that before you die. Let's hope you can. But just not having kids doesn't, for some reason, it doesn't make you special, man. That's all. Because it's pretty soon women gonna be looking at you like, look how old this guy is. He ain't got no children. What's wrong with him? Is he gay? Does he like men? Maybe you do. I don't know. But they're gonna be asking those questions, okay? Because my mother died before she ever saw any of my children. They didn't think I would ever have any children. It's just that I hadn't met the right woman. Then all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. I got 7. But I was 31, about to turn 32 when my daughter was born. So let's hope you live long enough, Larry, because if you do, you're going to be like, well, I remember 30 years ago, I had a conversation with that guy. And he told me if I live long enough, you're going to date a single mother. You're going to have children of your own if you don't have them already. But yeah, I was 31. But it doesn't make me less of a man for dating a single mother. I don't believe it. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. He said, stop whining and being soft. He said, move on or find another community. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? If he's all that, then why bring all that negativity to the stream? Because you don't understand. You're on a live stream with some very successful men, okay, that you can't carry their jockey strap. But because you don't know them and you don't see them, you're sitting behind the screen, you can talk all this stuff. You're no more successful probably than the least of us on here. Okay, that's all I'm saying. We're trying to help each other. But yeah, all that whining and complaining. Live long enough, man. That's all we're saying. He says, my nomadic ass always knew I didn't want children. Being autistic is another deterrent. But if you didn't say it, Kamal, I wouldn't know you was autistic. You just look like a normal guy. Now you do have some hell of a haircuts and stuff. But I mean, that's one thing, but you're not saying anything about negative about dating single mothers and all that and putting men down who date single mothers. Because it all boils down to choice. It's your prerogative. But this is the type of stuff we spend far too much time arguing about. There's too much stuff going on right now. Okay, and to spend all that time, arguing about whether you date single mothers or not, and you're weak because of it and all that, man. I don't know. But anyway, he said, I've been blessed with Christian women that have abortions. Yeah, I guess you have. He said, let's talk about how it is dating a single mother in the Philippines. Well, it's just the same as dating a single mother there. I talked about that the other day. The only difference is I don't have to deal with the father over here. My American wife had one son. He was 5 years old when I met her. It wasn't a deterrent. She's a very nice woman, treated me as good as I'd ever been treated. One of the reasons I'm sober today. Okay. It wasn't, I guarantee you, it wasn't a week. She invited me over her house, cooked me dinner. We sitting there, we talking, and boom, 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 here comes this guy. I want to see my son, right? So I answered the door. And me and him, he's got some mental things going on now, but I didn't know it then. Like, yeah, what's going on, man? And I had to deal with him. Over here, you don't. That's the biggest difference to me. Okay. And even to this day, that little boy, he's 30. Let's see, how old is this man? 1988. He's 37. And remember, I raised him since he was 5, all the way until me and her. He was 23 when we, divorced. He still looks at me as his father. But the biggest difference to me is you don't have to deal with the men over here. And the women over here don't expect you to discipline the kids, which you really don't. I've been with Merle almost 7 years, man. It's a long time. I haven't had to do, she takes care of that. And she has wonderful children. I've been fortunate. Even my son, okay, I was in raising my son, who was 5 years old when I met his mother. I was expected to discipline him. I only disciplined him one time. When he was 14 years old, he pulled a BB gun and pointed it at the school bus. And he's never had any problems after that. The only time I was asked to discipline him. So that's a difference. He said the foolish ones don't want to learn from those who has the experience. Learn from the experience of the wise is worth more than gold. Well, it's just something about this new generation. That's why the jails are so full of them, and they'll say that we let them down, that we didn't do our job. But it's not true. Okay, the narrative out there is that black men and black fathers aren't around. Yeah, the statistics would say we're not, but the statistics doesn't tell the whole story. Those women aren't really single mothers. Those women out there aren't really. Those households aren't really being run by single parents. Okay, the man is there, but he can't show himself, or the woman's gonna lose the benefit. Okay, I was one of those guys for many years. But to say that we let that generation down, no, they won't listen. They won't listen. I've got 4 daughters, 4 grown daughters. Only one of my daughters really isn't with that foolishness. After I told them, they never seen me drunk, never seen me high. I raised them to my oldest is 30 now. She was 15, about to turn 16 when I left the house. I told them about drugs. I gave them a good example. They won't listen. Okay? And to say that we let them down, it's not true. My parents were part of the great generation. We call them the greatest generation. Okay, the ones who showed us we're standing on today. Because the baby boomers haven't really done anything. We're enjoying the fruits of their labor. Don't tell me that they didn't raise us good, because they did. We went astray. And this is what guys like him, he's not listening to anybody at 32 years old. He thinks he knows everything. Okay? Until he doesn't. The jails are full of people in the cemeteries. You know, I got a nephew who was 18 years old when he got killed. And my sister, who is 75 right now, this was 2008, had given him money. She was his grandmother. She was raising him as her child. Gave him money to go to Florida to see his biological mother, spend the summer with her. Okay, so she's at work. She's thinking, oh, he's getting ready to, he's on the bus now going down to Florida, Orlando, Florida. No, he done gambled the money away and pissed it off. So now he's got to get the money before she gets home so he can go to Florida. So they concoct this great idea. Oh, we're going to rob the rent guy because, you know, the people he's hanging with, they know that the guy comes there on the 3rd to collect the rent money. He's going to concoct this plan, him and his friend, to rob the guy, take the bus and go to Florida. The guy was ex-military, ex-special forces. Killed them both. Okay, pretended like he was having a heart attack, pulled out that 9mm, 40 Glock, whatever it was, and shot them both. My nephew never made it in the door. He killed him. He dropped in the doorstep. His friend was running away, shot him in the back several times. He died at the end of the walkway because they thought they knew what was best. They wasn't listening. He'd have took that money and went on and seen his mother. He'd be alive today. This is what guys like him are doing, and many others are doing. But they'll blame it on the parents. They'll say, we're not doing our job. That's bullshit. They're not listening. This social media got them going crazy. Like they don't need us. They don't need our counsel. What's up, 53 Shades Darker? He got killed, man, you know. Hey, booby. He says, I've seen a guy that had to be in his 70s carrying an infant. Well, you're going to see that over here. You're going to see that here. Because women here, they're fertile, man. I was 57 when Booby was born, right? Yeah. Damn near 58. I was 57. No, I just turned 57. Because Booby's getting ready to turn 5 next month. I was 57, man. Okay, when my son was born, he's 15. Now he's 14, he'll be 15 in November. So what was I? 48? No, I was 47 when he was born. You come over here, you think, oh, the equipment stopped working. Nope. But yeah, I see that all the time, Thomas. Yeah, that was crazy. But they'll say, man, and nobody, I'm going to tell you something. I had the greatest mother that ever lived. To say that she didn't raise us right and she didn't set the perfect example, you didn't know my mother. And look at the direction some of her children went in, okay? And my sister was the same way when her son died, really a grandson. Okay, rescued him when he was a little baby from the mother because the mother wasn't, in her right, man, on the street. Said, okay, went to court, got custody, raised him all the way till he was 18. Made sure he used to be a basketball star. Then all of a sudden he started hanging out with these guys. Everybody wants to be a rapper. And she gave him money to catch the bus to Florida. But no, he knew better than his mother. So he gambled. I'm going to double this money up. I'm going to gamble. And he ended up losing the money. So they had to concoct this. So look it up if you think I'm playing. Both of them were 19 years old. And guess what? You go to the cemetery, they're as close as they were when they got killed. That's how close their tombstones are. Okay, my nephews is here. His friends is at the end of the walk. Okay, both of them got killed that day. I don't know what you're saying, Johnny. You got to decipher some of this stuff. Translate it. We take the worst of the worst cases, these anecdotal cases, and try to paint everybody. Yeah, there's some old tramps out there like that want to have babies by a man, get his money and all that stuff like that. But man, that's the minority. He said cows die for our sins. He said, living their boots on the ground, just about everything you're saying is true. I'm just giving my experience, Raymond. What's up? I hope y'all can make it to the meet and greet, man. You enjoy it. You meet some great guys there too. And your girlfriend will meet some great women there. Hey, Q in the Philippines, thanks for that super chat. He says, single mother or not, as long as you're happy, that's all that matters. We all gonna die one day, so it's best if we live our best life, even if it includes marrying Miss Trump. I couldn't agree with you more. That's what the whole thing is about, is if these guys who as successful as any man could possibly be in the United States, if they can marry single mothers, maybe we got it wrong about single mothers. If these guys who could have anybody they want in the world, basically, all the money, all the fame and everything, the fortune, the wealth, and all of that, and they marry single mothers, Q. Maybe it's something, maybe we got it wrong about single mothers. Maybe we're putting too much on the role of the woman in the relationship. If I'm the man, if I'm the maintainer, the provider, the protector, at this stage in my life, I don't need a woman to do a whole lot. Okay, I'm 62. I don't need a woman to be. You don't even have to love me at this stage in my life. Okay, but can I trust you? Give me some kind of peace. I don't want to be looking on my shoulder every 5 minutes, but I can make myself happy. I don't need a woman to make me happy because most of the time a woman is giving you pleasure. There's a big difference between between pleasure and happiness. I'm getting ready to go in there and eat a nice meal. My bills are paid. Okay, the police aren't looking for me. I'm happy. I don't have to punch that clock when the alarm clock went off this morning. It was to get up and drink a cup of coffee, which I slept good last night. That's another thing when you don't have all that noise going off in your head with this, with these headlines and all this social media junk going off in your head, you sleep better. But it went off so I can get up and drink a cup of coffee, not to punch that clock, man. I'm within a stone's throw of a nice beach. The weather, it never gets cold here. I'm living my best life. Okay? The woman I'm with happens to have 3 children. We have one together. That doesn't. Okay, yeah. It's, okay. That's not a knock on me. Okay? Because at the end of the day, I'm responsible for my happiness, man. There's nothing outside of me. No woman, no job, no money, no car or anything. is going to be responsible for that. I'm responsible for that. But I'm not going to date a woman with 5 children. That's my prerogative. But I'm not, that's where I draw the line. You know, I'm going to draw the line, you know, at 2, since that's been my experience. You can't have over 2 children when I date you. Okay, but as far as you being a single mother, guys, come on. You're lying. You know, if, have you seen some of these beautiful women out here? Because that's all we go by anyway, the looks and the body. Okay? It's beautiful women, and you ain't going to turn them down. If they come knocking on your door, say, hey, Larry, I want to come on and beat me up tonight. You know, you're probably saying all this stuff, Larry, because nobody wants you. Why would a 32-year-old man be on a live stream like this anyway if he's all that, other than to cause problems? But you claim you all that. If it's that bad as a 32-year-old man, and when I was 32, I wasn't even thinking about, I was still chasing the American dream. I didn't even know it was bad over there. Really. Okay. Coming to Thailand, the Philippines, Vietnam, all those places, Brazil, Colombia. It never crossed my mind. It was only till I got older and I was still married, happily married, when I started traveling on my own, not from the service. But you young guys, y'all got all the answers, man. That scares me. Y'all got all the answers. And y'all the ones causing all the problems over here now. Bringing all that foolishness over here. It ain't these older guys. It's these younger guys in their 30s and 40s. Let's talk about that. Okay? You're the ones who's doing it. Because the older guys were set up already. It doesn't make a whole lot of difference, all that stuff y'all worried about. We've been there and done that. Okay, we got the money coming in every month. Okay, we got a nice bank account. It doesn't matter if the woman's got a child or 2. But you younger guys, y'all got too much going on. You still working. Okay? Unless you got a YouTube channel or something like that. You still working. That's enough to make me mad right there. Under no circumstances am I going back to work. Just the thought of going back to work pisses me off. But yeah, thank y'all so much for your super chat, super stickers, all your thumbs up, all your support for Sunshine Shoulders. I hope y'all can make it to the meet and greet, man. August 2nd, Sikiho Island, Infinity Sands Resort. They got plenty of rooms. I think they knocked the price down for us from 5,800 to 3,400 pesos a night. But there's other places right along that strip. There's a bunch on both sides. If you don't want to pay 3,400, you know, you could probably get a room there right now because it's the slow season. Which I didn't even know they had a slow and fast season, a high and low season rather, in the Philippines. You could get for about 1,000. I know Michael Beach Your Life rented a room for 600, but they fixed those rooms up, Michael Beach Your Life. You wouldn't recognize that place now. A friend of mine, he loaned them the money to fix all that up. It's really nice now. Aircon, everything. Fresh paint, the whole 9 yards is changed. But yeah, it's going to be nice, guys. But take care, y'all. Stay safe. Stay out of trouble. I'll see you next time. Don't do anything stupid. Don't let a woman, okay, write your legacy for you. Stand on your own 2 feet. The one Tiger Woods, his legacy's already been written, man, no matter who he's with. I just scratched my head because I thought, boy, it's his choice, but boy, what a choice he made. I mean, it does matter to me, let me say that, about whose children they are. But what I don't know won't hurt me. But if I see the guy and I was like, well, that's who you was with, it might change my mind.